Here we go. Okay, perfect. All right. So we're going to have this for other people who can't make it. So there's the agenda. And here's the themes. All right. So the themes this month, as voted on by you all, is food justice for February, energy for March, and mobility for April. So that's the way it's going to fall. Energy and mobility may switch. It kind of just depends on speaker availability and how the events are coming through. But these are going to be the three themes that you all voted on. Not everything we do is going to be perfectly married to these themes, but we're trying to use these as like a general kind of exploration for us all. And so in general, each month we're going to do some, activities. We're going to hear from some speakers, and they're all going to be touching around these different themes. And we're really just going to try to be exploring in depth how these all tie into sustainability. So if you all have a specific activity or speaker or event you would like to do as a group, you can always feel free to send it our way. We've started working on getting together everything for this semester, but there's always room to add in some other stuff. You're going to see that events are going to be split between myself, John, and the RAs. So we're going to be just doing some different events throughout the semester. But they're all going to be part of this like general sustained experience, and they're all going to be centered around these themes here. So for staying involved this spring, it's a little different. For those of you who are in the class, obviously there was a lot, more, there's a clear expectations as far as what you were expected to do and expect to be doing this week. Like I said, in the spring, we're much more project focused. So things are a little more as you go, but we still want to see you all as many events you're able to attend. And, we want to keep these events well attended. So like I said, if you have any events or activities you'd like to see, or other people would like to see, feel free to shoot it our way, and we're happy to put it together. Or if there's an idea for how we can improve something, always let us know, because we want to keep these events engaging for you all. We are going to be doing some in-person. It was supposed to be in person, not virtual and online. So virtual and in person is what we're going to be doing. So the university has loosened the restrictions regarding in-person events. So starting February 1st, we're allowed to be doing some in-person elements. We still have a lot of restrictions regarding travel and things like that, but we're going to work with what we got. So we're going to be exploring some different areas around campus and possibly, off campus if we can later in the semester. So we're going to be looking at a couple different spots. We're going to try to redo the Olentangy River wetlands tour, since that one got rained out last time. We're going to go over to Waterman Farm and check out the student farm that they have there. There's some other events that we're looking into. So again, if there's a place on campus or near campus that you'd really like to check out, feel free to send me a message and we can try to put it together. We are going to switch. So last semester we used a Google Calendar. We got some feedback from people that they would prefer an Outlook calendar. So we're going to use an Outlook calendar this semester. So it should be able to just, sync right up with your email, your OSU email, and it should be an easier way to check. We're still going to be putting events, RSVPs into the GroupMe, and we're still going to be announcing events through the newsletter, but the calendar will be another way for you to get that information on where to go and when to be there. If anyone feels really strongly that you got a lot of benefit out of using a Google Calendar, let me know and we can try to figure out something for you. But most of the information this semester, we're going to try to do Outlook and see how it goes. So now for some incentives. Like I said, for this fall, it was a lot more structured for how to participate, especially for those of you who are in your first year. For the spring, we're going to introduce some different incentives just to try to get people coming to things. So there's going to be 2 prize categories. So individual and roots and shoots. So for individual, that's simple. It's just whoever attends the most sustains events this semester, we're going to recognize you at the end of the semester. We'll give you a cool little award, a cool little incentive. And so that's just, we'll be tracking attendance. It started today. So congrats everyone who's here. You get a point. So you're already ahead of those who can't make it. And then we'll just be seeing at the end of the semester who was, most active and involved. In addition to events, we're also going to be tracking people's project participation. So we're going to be checking in throughout the semester and being like, hey, is everyone in your project group, are they still involved contributing? And those who are contributing are going to be moved towards this goal as well. So make sure, in addition to events and stuff, make sure you're attending. I still want you all to be attending events that you want to and find meaningful. And so we're hoping to give enough events that you should be able to still be attending things that you like, and not feel like you're pressured to attend every single thing just to get the prize. And then the other way you can earn points as well is for roots and shoots groups. So we're going to recognize whatever roots and shoots group was most active this year. So since not all the groups have an even amount of membership, it's going to be based on percentage. So if you have 4 people in your group and 2 of them showed up to an event, you guys would get half a point. If one person showed up, you'd get a quarter of a point, and it'll just go like that. So that way no group is punished for having less members than another group. Inactive members will not be counted. So, we may have some people who just, can't really stay involved with Sustains this spring. And so they're not going to bring the group average down. So if people have to drop out at some point, they're not going to like hurt your group percentage or as a whole. And then also you guys can be organizing events. So if a Roots and Shoots groups wants to have some kind of like virtual study night, or you guys want to go like grab Sloopies or something together, you guys can do that. You just have to let myself know and just be like, hey, like as a Roots and Shoots group, we went and did this activity together, and that'll be a way for you all to earn points. It'll still be based as a percentage. So if only 3 people out of a group of 4 can attend, then you still only get 75. And we are asking for at least 3 people because we don't want it to just be like, hey, like these 2 people just live in the same room. Every night is like Sustains event. Like we don't really want to get into that territory. So please try to have at least 3 people, and then we'll count it towards this total. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? Cool. Like I said, the majorly we want people attending events because they're good events and you all are interested in them. So please continue to give us feedback about how we can make things engaging and fun for you, and let us know what ideas or suggestions you have, because we can always try to work those in. But awesome. So just as a reminder, here's the Roots and Shoots groups. I'll repost this into the GroupMe just so you all have it. But if you're looking at this list and you're like, wow, I didn't talk to those people at all last semester, please don't do that this semester. So please, if you don't have like another GroupMe set up or another little way to stay in touch, please just be thinking about how we can all stay connected with each other. And so these are the Roots and Shoots. And again, I'll post them, but I'll give you all a second just to look through them. We also may have some different like Roots and Shoots activities, specifically like things you would only do as a group. So we may be announcing that later in the semester. Awesome. So yeah, like I said, I'll post this in the GroupMe, but just as a reminder there. And then next reminder is second years. First years, if you want to return to Sustains for a second year, the applications are due February 1st. I've seen some mixed deadlines for this. So I would just consider that you want to be done before February 1st. So it's a very short application. It only takes it honestly maybe takes 10 or 15 minutes to complete. So if you haven't done it, maybe do it right after this, or do it by Sunday. But I would not wait until day of February 1st to do it, because I've seen some mixed deadlines. So I wouldn't want anyone to be kind of cut off on accident there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me now or wait about the second year experience. I can't promise you that we'll be 100% back to what we normally do programming wise next year. We're just, waiting to hear more as far as event restrictions, and we're going to be seeing how, COVID numbers go over the summer and things, and how vaccinations roll out. So a lot is up in the air. We're definitely going to be closer to our original programming than we were this year. But I can't promise we'll be 100% back to everything we normally offer. So if anyone has any questions, like I said, feel free to ask me now. If you're uncertain, honestly, I would just recommend doing the application, and then you can really think about it past this point. But if you have it in there, you can always choose to back out. But if you don't have it in there, you can't opt in. So if you're uncertain, maybe just do it real quick, and then, I'd be happy to talk further. But I'll be sticking around a little bit after our call today. So if you want to ask me any questions, feel free. But I wanted to say the application is pretty short. So we use that, but we're also going to be basing our decisions on who returns to the LC based on people's participation this year. So it's not just based on the application that you submit, but also thinking about, were you active in the community? Were you engaged in the class? Were you a part of a project group and actively engaged there? So these are all things we kind of think about as we consider who's going to return for a second year. But yeah, so like I said, due by February 1st. I would get it in, quicker rather than later. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'll pause for a second here in case anyone wants to ask anything. And then this is the correct link here. I put the correct link in the GroupMe. I had an incorrect link in the newsletter. So that's the correct one though. Cool. So these are the projects this year. So we're gonna have 4 of them. So composting and gardens are continuing groups. And then plastic bag and thrift shop were the 2 projects that were voted on from last semester. So everyone in the class gave some really amazing project presentations. We really appreciated seeing everybody. But just to make sure that we can, implement our plans, we try to focus our manpower and resources. And so these are the projects that you all chose to continue. The way this works is that we're going to ask everyone in the community to be in a project group. If you really are interested in multiple, you can join multiple groups, but everyone has to be in at least one. And you don't have to be in the one you were in last semester. So even if you were in the plastic bag recycling group last semester as part of the class, if you want to switch to be part of the composting group, you absolutely can. We would ask if you were like the keeper of some kind of information to make sure that gets transferred over, but you're not confined to be in the same group you were in last semester. So what we're going to do now is, this is actually the end of the program really. After this, it's all just project time. So we're going to have breakout rooms launched for each of the 4 groups, and you all just join whichever groups you want. And you can switch between the different groups for today. But I am going to ask that by today, you make a decision on at least one. So before you leave the Zoom call, make a decision on at least one group that you want to be a part of. And if later on in the semester, in like a week or 2, if you're like, actually, I kind of feel like I wanted to be in this group, we can always switch you over. But just have one that you're at least going to start in for the next week or so. You all are going to have some time to talk together. And we're going to ask that you accomplish a few things. So the first one is to nominate a project lead or a co-lead. This does not have to be like the number one person or the person in charge. This just has to be who's going to be my point of contact. So when I'm checking in with the group, who's the person I know to go to, and just I'll know I'll get a response back. Or they're in charge of saying, hey, like Matt, we need A, B, and C for the project. So it's just whoever I need to be in touch with. And if you want to have multiple people, that's great too. But just make sure I have at least one name for the person I know I can go to hear how things are going, and make sure that we can be meeting if we need to be. I also want every group to set one goal. You can set more, but just set at least one goal for the semester. So by the time we all leave in April, May, what do we want to have accomplished? And it's okay if it's not super solidified, and it's okay if it changes a little bit later on in the semester, but at least start with one goal so we can work. Towards it. The next one is establish a work plan. Really what I mean by this is just have an idea for, hey, when are we going to meet? Are we going to meet every other week? Are we going to meet on Sundays? Just like, when are we going to see each other? How much are we going to be working on this? Do people feel like they can work 30 minutes a week on the project, an hour a week on the project? Is there some big deadline that we need to hit? Do we need to be launched by some date or whatever? So just be thinking through those major things, and then we can work on solidifying it and, fine tuning this work plan later on. But the number one thing is just know, hey, when are we going to see each other to make sure that we're making progress on this? So like I said, it doesn't have to be every week, but you probably should be seeing your project group at least 2 times a month just to make sure things are still rolling. And then finally, create a shared place to store information. So this can be anything you want. It can be a GroupMe, it can be a Google Drive, it can be, someone's room in Scott, if you want it to be. Just have some place where you're going to keep info. And so that way, when things transfer over at the end of the year, there'll be a place where we can put all this great work that you all have been doing, and it won't just be lost and the next people will have to start over, because the composting and garden groups have been continuing for years. The thrift swap and plastic bag recycling may be projects that we continue into the future as well. So if we're going to do this again, we want to make sure we have all that info. And then once you have these 4 things, you can keep working together, but then just make sure you come back to the main room. I'm going to keep the main room open and I'll be here. So you just come back here, you tell us these 4 things, then you guys are good to go. So I'll be here if you have any questions too about, the second year experience or anything like that, or what to put in your application or anything else you want to know about what to expect this year. But yeah, you guys just work together, accomplish these 4 things, come back and report, and then you're good to go. And I'll put these 4 things into the chat box so you have it as well. But that is everything. So does anyone have any questions about what you all are going to be doing? So like I said, I'll open them up now, but you can switch between rooms if you decide. Please don't feel like awkward or whatever about just like jumping into a room and being like, you know, maybe this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to try out this other thing. And again, you can always switch in like a week or so if you really want to. But awesome. I will launch. I'm going to stop the recording now.